Uh-oh. Hello, everyone, and welcome to J&B Talk F1.
Uh-oh.
It's December already, December the 31st, and it's been a while since we've done a podcast anyway. I think the last time we did it was the final race of the season. But anyway, we're not going to be talking about anything else except for the J&B Talk F1 inaugural awards for the 2015 F1 season. And to be fair, as we've said probably so many times on air, it's been a bit of a fizzer season. Am I right in saying that, Baden?
Can't believe it. It feels like an eternity now. I mean, it's had its highlights, 2 or 3 standout events notwithstanding, but it's been a best part of a month now since that finale, and we all know what did transpire there on and off the track. But it was certainly a good way for us to cap the year, and really now the countdown begins again to Melbourne, because tomorrow tick over to a new year, and it's only about 70, 80 days away. So we've got to make the most of what did occur. And of course, it was a year that was tinged with sadness as well, and revelations too. We had some real sights there that were quite stunning, and really we go into 2016 hoping we'll get a whole lot more to deal with.
Yeah, before we start off the awards, we've got 10 awards that we'd like to give in this very makeshift ceremony. Ha ha ha. But yeah, we're just in memoriam. We want to think about Jules Bianchi, who we lost this year midway through the year. His battle for 9 months after the accident in Suzuka in 2014, which eventually claimed his life. Talent lost very early on, and a lot of people were pretty much the entire F1 community was destroyed at the news that day in July. But we just wanted to start off by saying that.
It'd be remiss as well not to mention the ex-F1 alumni there in Justin Wilson, who did perish at the penultimate event of the IndyCar season in, really, it's hard to find any other word, innocuous, but freak circumstances. The way that he met his end there really did just take everyone by surprise to see such a well-liked guy there. It's easy to say that about anyone who meets their end there, but both
of these guys, no one really had a bad word about them in the motorsport community, and they'll be sorely missed for sure. But
just quickly as well, should mention he's not fallen, but Michael Schumacher 2 days ago, it was the 2-year anniversary of his accident on the Alps there, which is really changed the course of his life as well. And again, we can't say it enough. We afterwards with him, and that hashtag Keep Fighting Michael, it can't be emphasized enough. But we need to move to the positives now anyway.
Exactly. And as well as Baden, tonight for this awards ceremony makeshift, as I keep saying, we've got a special guest, and it's none other than the king of hardships himself, the 1992 Formula One world champion, Mr. Nigel Mansell.
Oh, forgive me there. I've just been got in the red eye from Cancun, and I've just been sinking a few of those tequilas. My voice is a little bit gravelly right now, and quite frankly, if you can tell us where the first Bucky burger is, then I will be quite pleased, okay? So maybe if you just give me a minute just to recalibrate my senses, and then I'll be much more sustainable with some valuable input here.
Yeah, thank you, Nige, and we'll have Nige throughout this brief ceremony, it has to be said. But anyway, Baden, down to the brass tacks of things. Our first award, let's start off with the negatives and the Disappointment of the Year award. And we've got 3 nominations for this one. First off, Red Bull Racing.
Easy wins.
Yeah, not so this season. Red Bull, who even last year, to be honest, they felt that they were behind the 8 ball with the Renault engine not performing. But this season more so, we've seen them fall out with their Renault partners throughout the year. They did salvage some of it with a couple of podiums, Hungary notably with both cars on the podium. But overall, it was not where Red Bull wanted to be. And even a lot of their off-track skirmishes with Renault in the media have really taken away from the reputation of the team as well. It's really cast them in a sort of bad light, they're a bit of villains or whatever. So yeah, that's Red Bull Racing. Second of all, McLaren Honda.
The power of dreams.
The power of
failures.
Yeah, power of dreams. Sadly didn't deliver this year, and not deliver by when I mean not deliver, they really did not deliver. And last of all, the third nomination is most of the races this season, which, as we said before, the season itself was a bit of a fizzer with not a lot of competition at the front. To be honest, a lot of the competition in the races were towards the midfield and the back part of the points, and that's not what we want to see in Formula One. We want to see drivers fighting for the victories. We want to see multiple championship contenders, which mathematically we did have this year, but realistically, it was not a chance for anyone but Lewis Hamilton. And Baden, you want to tell us who the winner is on this one?
Oh, it was really a tough call. We spent the reason we haven't had any podcast in the past month. We just agonised over this call, and ultimately we came up with.
Yeah, we've been crunching the numbers for the last month. We've got the abacus out, and we're just, so many equations, like all the blackboards, even the walls and the houses being, painted over. It looks like a jail cell.
We might have been distracted by a particular individual in a particular film the last few weeks.
We'll get to that later. Calm down.
Just a little prelude, a little advertisement for the podcast, which is actually going to run concurrently to this one. But yes, it might have just taken the focus away from.
Okay, yeah, but can we get to the award, please, now?
Of course.
So the winner is okay.
McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren Honda is the winner for their torrid campaign, of course.
Where's Ron? Well, quite frankly, the circumstances pertaining to this outcome is not that which is forthcoming with the notion that we are wanting to strike the optimal cause for that which company strives to achieve.
Optimal cause that the company strives to achieve, blah, 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 Ron speak. But yeah, McLaren are a team synonymous with success and whatnot. And this year, 2015, has been the worst season for the team in their illustrious history. The only highlight of the season was a 5th place finish from Fernando Alonso, the driver they did hire ultimately over the likes of the young Kevin Magnussen to lead Honda. And that came at the chaotic Hungarian Grand Prix, which saw a lot of attrition from a lot of guys. And so McLaren get that award. And to move it on now, the most improved driver of 2015. Now we have 3 nominations for that. Marcus Ericsson from the Sauber team. His debut for Caterham last year cut short amid their financial turmoil. But he's come back this year for Sauber. He's scored points in his first race, and he's constantly punched above his weight. He's been in quite a few good battles as well with the guys at the back part of the points as well. And even though his teammate has scored more points than him this season, Ericsson has really proved he could be a contender in the midfield. We've got Sergio Perez as well, who's finished inside the top 10 ahead of his very highly credentialed teammate in Nico Hülkenberg. He had that podium as well, of course, his second podium for Force India. And Danny Kvyat in his second season being promoted to Red Bull Racing from the junior squad. He's had a poor car all year. He got the kick up the backside by Helmut Marko after the Monaco Grand Prix, but he has performed, and eventually he beat his teammate Daniel Ricciardo in the driver standings. And the winner, Baden, please.
Those 3. It's hard to go past really Sergio Perez. As much as you'd say Kvyat turned it around there, I think Checo, he had the strongest portion of a campaign. Really, Sauber Days 2012, he set the world on fire. Everyone thought he might have been off to Ferrari at that point, and we saw what happened with McLaren the year after. But went back to Force India, been a bit indifferent first part of 2015 as well, but he got his act together magnificently, culminating in that glorious podium at Russia, and he looks like he's on track. If he has a stellar 2016, who knows? He could be back on track for re-entering that top echelon of the grid. I don't know about you, if you share that sentiment.
Yeah, well, Perez, our winner there for most improved driver. I mean, sure, he was at the top. He was quite on top back in 2012 with his first few podiums for the Sauber team, and then pretty much after leaving McLaren after going to McLaren and then leaving McLaren, Perez had to fight his way back, and people had written him off as being a driver to be able to lead a team or to be part of a big team. And I think Perez now is at that point. He's matured as well a lot, and he's back into that position where he could be on the cusp of re-entering a big team. But for this award, yeah, most improved driver 2015, Sergio Perez is the winner for that. And now moving it on again, most improved team, and for that we've got 3 nominations yet again. We've got the Sauber team after being pointless in. I don't mean like pointless in the sense that they have no point of being
They
in
ended
F1.
2014 with no
0
points, and they
yeah.
started 2015 with about 46 drivers on their roster.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They came away with
But eventually they did
miserable.
score points. Both drivers scored points in their first race, even though it wasn't Guido van der Garde. So Sauber, the first nomination. Ferrari, not much like. No more praise can be said about Ferrari than their resurrection from 2014 to 2015, finishing second in the Constructors' Championship. Sebastian Vettel almost finishing second in the Drivers' Championship in his debut year for Ferrari. And, of course, Toro Rosso constantly punching above their weight. They had 2 rookies in the car this year, one of them still a teenager. And, boy, he set the Formula 1 world on fire. So the winner, Baden.
As much as you'd love to say Toro Rosso in the future, who knows? Between Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, they could have 35 years on the grid ahead of them. But Ferrari, who saw that one coming? Fernando Alonso, when he left, everyone was saying this is the end of Ferrari, and they're really they're saying they're going down the path of a Williams and even to a lesser extent McLaren in more recent times. And for a large portion of 2015, there was this real notion Ferrari might just be able to jag the title, if not the drivers through Vettel. And for next year, really, the consensus is there too, that they're even money with Mercedes. So for Maranello, they've come a long way, leaps and bounds.
And to pretty much resurrect themselves from where they were last season, obviously expelling all that bad blood as well. President Luca de Montezemolo stepping down, a long-time president of Ferrari.
And Domenicali went earlier in that
Domenicali
season. And we
went
had
on.
The ill-fated tenure of
Marco Mardiaci as
there.
well. So Sergio Marchionne coming in with an iron fist. He made Ferrari shares public for the first time in the company's history as well. So showing that he's not all about the F1 team. He does care about the F1 team, but he was looking at the long-term future of Ferrari, which certainly might be outside of where the traditionalists would see. And, of course, Maurizio Rivabene, James Allison as well, having more of an influence, and a lot of people behind the scenes too. So this award, I guess, would go to, if it meant anything, seeing as it's just a makeshift ceremony, it would go to all the staff at Maranello for the hard work they've put in to get the team back to where they deserve to be. And that's certainly for the health of Formula One at the top.
Oh, absolutely. As much as Ferrari and dominance were synonymous in driving people to their wits' end in the mid-2000s, they've been through a bit of a barren streak of late, and the good Ferrari is good for F1. They don't have to be dominating, and we just see that the way every time that Sebastian Vettel ultimately, as it was, Kimi couldn't quite get the job done in 2015, but we are promised so many times, especially in the off-season, that he will get the job done next year, that Ferrari, up the top, it really does go down very well with the fans.
All right, moving it on now. And this is an award that, Baden, thank you for now. You can go have your break, but we'll have Nige back up on stage now. And this is a special award, Nige, that you've come up with. It's the Hardship of the Year award. Now, just before we get into the winner for this one, please explain a little bit what it's all about.
Oh, back in my day, this was like prehistoric times before I was the 1992 Formula One World Champion and the 1993 IndyCar Kart World Series Champion. But well before then, I was in my primitive days of Formula One, and quite frankly, it took a lot of guts, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to that point. And I frankly could have been crippled to that point. And it's a testament to me, as it is, that I can claim these achievements as my own, because if we're at the 80s especially, pretty much every season I participated in Formula One, it was bookmarked by some horrific event, which left me quite more often than not in the casualty ward. You think of 86 at Australia, 87 at Suzuka, or even 1993 when I was at Phoenix, even though I was already champion by then in F1. All of these events, they steeled me to come back and be bigger and better. And ultimately, though, getting a bit more relevant to the point, and I see with my dear old colleague from Spain and Fernando Alonso, he and I, we share that very common connection. We've got a deep and rich history at McLaren. Of course, Fred 2007, he had that year of so many setbacks and these little tiffs with Juan Dennis. But me too, I had my stint in 1995 with Woking and with Juan, and we have lots of good memories from that race at San Marino and Barcelona. But we saw the news at the end of last year that Fred was coming back for another bite of the cherry at Woking, and really started the year and had that interesting little brush with the barrier at Barcelona, and there was all sorts of mysteries going on around there, whether it was his fault or there was some electronic issue, and then he ultimately did get back behind the wheel, and we saw from then on every single race, more or less, he had some sort of failure in one session or the other, and culminating really with that infamous scene of him sitting on that plastic chair in the paddock at Sao Paulo. And really, for me, that just summarizes the man. He didn't lose his mind at that point, as I am too. We're very common in that respect, that we keep a very strong will of character there, that we have not turned into someone like the Joker previously, when it was very easy for a lesser like to do so. That's my personal opinion anyway. Fernando Alonso, when you look at what Ferrari have done and what Fred's had to endure, just like me, clearly we are too cut out to be the legends of motorsport in the years to come. And, I don't know, but that's just all I got to say.
Oh, they've got a wicket there. Haddon's gone.
If you were, yeah, like Haddon and just notion of this big bash. What does that mean? You bash the bodies together or something?
Oh, I don't know, Nigel. It's on the TV. I'm not sure what to say. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
back to the awards. Yeah, congratulations.
My voice is quite parched now, so if you don't mind, that might be the extent of my contribution for now, because my Cancun trip is still very fresh in the memory bank, and I need until March or so to get back in prime form. So that's me, Noise, checking out for 2015, and if any other hardship strikes me in the next, 3 hours and 28 minutes, then God help me, something I have done very, very wrong in the name of all of the Jesuses that come across the galaxy, and the First Order and the Resistance, and the Wrens and the Ways and the Finns and the Poos and all the like.
Thank you very much, Nigel. And yeah, winner of that award, well deserved. Oh, I wouldn't say well deserved, but yeah, unfortunately, Fernando Alonso is the recipient of hardship of the year. And welcome back, Baden, to the stage. And he is an enigma, isn't he, Nigel? And also, to an extent, Fernando Alonso as well.
I don't want. This driving GP2.
His GP2 engine. I don't want. Anyway, we better move it on. I think we're getting a bit too carried away. But how come that's not out? It was like a no ball or something.
We do apologise for the.
We're watching the cricket at the same
the
time.
height
I mean,
of summer
come
Big
on.
Bash. If you're in the UK, wherever you might be, I recommend you tune in. This is some of the best quality entertainment. You got, for those in the UK, especially Freddie Flintoff. Highlighting their
He's better than he's better than the English Premier League combined with whatever soccer.
Oh, I think it's 10 guys. They are upstage almost the regulars from 9 over the last 2 or 3
You've got
decades.
Gilly, you've got Punter, you've got Junior, the governor of the Sydney Thunder,
and
Mark
his
Moore.
elephant.
His elephant. I mean, we're not tripping or anything, guys. There was genuinely an elephant at any.
And talk of him going into the jungle.
Oh yeah, talk of him going into. But we're not promoting the jungle
with
now.
his form guide.
Yeah, with his form guide. June, good old June, as they call him. Anyway, we better move it on now. And
yes.
Next award, Rookie of the Year. Now, do we really need to talk about this? Because there could be only one winner, and Max Verstappen, hands down. I mean, not to take anything away from Roberto Meri or Will Stevens isn't a rookie really because he had that one race for Caterham last year at Abu Dhabi.
No, he's no rookie. He
Alex
had that
Rossi
one
as well
race.
was impressive. Roberto Meri was on his game as well when it mattered. Carlos Sainz, I mean,
Carlito's way.
Carlito or Chili as he likes to be called, apparently according to Ted Kravitz. But yeah,
Fascinating.
Carlos was quite fascinating as well. I have to say, I think he's an impressive driver. Felipe Nasser as well, was quite good in the Sauber. But
NASA, he's been around for years. He's been around since 2002.
Oh, get away.
Jokes.
Joker. Yeah, so Max Verstappen, hands down, he's been impressive all year. So what if he's got more penalty points on his license than Pastor Maldonado for once in the recent F1 season? But Verstappen with his racecraft, this time last year, obviously, there was a lot of criticism from those experts or whatever that Verstappen's too young for Formula One. It proves that the sport is broken, blah, blah, blah. But Verstappen, if anything, once coming into Formula One this year, he's injected a breath of fresh air into the sport. He's injected youthfulness. He's shown that he won't be intimidated by some of the mainstays, especially after that incident in Monaco where he accused Roman Grosjean, a driver of so much experience of brake testing, and in the press conference when he was being beaten up by even more experienced guys like Felipe Massa, saying that he is dangerous for the sport and everything. And what did Verstappen do? He kept his cool and he just said, "Oh, maybe you should look back to 2014 to Canada when you hit Perez."
And then we did see Verstappen, Hungary, and was it not Singapore though? Russia, was it? One of the later races there, 2 fourth places ultimately were his reward.
Yeah, his best play. And if something like Hungary was a mad race anyway to begin with, so if something else happened and maybe one of the top 3 fell out, he could have been on the podium potentially, and he would have been the youngest driver ever. Bless me, thank you. Whatever. Yeah, so he would have been the youngest driver ever to be on the podium in Formula One. So Verstappen, one to look out for, and as you said before as well, referring to him and Sainz together, they easily have maybe 2-3 decades in the sport ahead of them. So good luck, and yeah, thank you, Max Verstappen, for all the entertainment this year. Moving it on now, livery of the year, and this is one that not a lot of big publications or TV channels or whatever do, or other podcasts do on their awards segments, but livery of the year, because the cars do look important, don't they? I mean, after all, we've had some iconic liveries in the past: McLaren, Honda, the Williamses of the old days, the Lotus, the old JPS Lotus, black and gold, Benetton even. Now I'm just going.
No, I'm thinking more Pacific in 1995, the Lola 1997, MasterCard. Who can forget that iconic
How about the Simtek?
Red, blue,
even the Simtek didn't
orange,
look too bad as well,
white.
with those nice colours.
Oh.
But yeah. Anyway, the nominees for livery of the year: Williams again with their martini stripes, the white car, beautiful. Sauber, they've had a bit of a dull grey livery over the past couple of years.
Far cry from their lovely liveries of the 2000s, that turquoise aqua colour they had with the Patronus, that really did take the cake back in the day, along with Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. But now they've gone to a more IKEA blue and yellow livery with a bit of white in there as well. But it's not IKEA because of Marcus Ericsson being Swedish. Haha. It's actually Banco de Brazil, Felipe Nasser's personal sponsor. But yeah, those are injecting some colours into Formula One is what we like. And Force India, they've always been a colourful. They've always had a colourful car. This year they've replaced the white though for silver. I think the silver works really well with the orange and the green that they have from the Indian flag. But the winner, Baden, please.
I'm going to be a bit divisive here and go with the latter here. Force India, like with Sauber, it's just, I don't know, something about that colour. Like, as much as it's a more pleasing effort than recent campaigns, at Williams are a bit conservative compared to what we saw from 2014 when Martini did come on board. It seemed almost as if they went even more on the reserved appearance this year. But for Force India, just as you mentioned, that silver edition, it just gave that extra sheen. It just gave it that sleek look. And then you couple that with their upsurge in form, the back half of 2015, it had the makings of really a great all-round effort. But not that it really aesthetic gains you any kind of performance. It
just-
still does
but
go
still,
a long
in
way
terms
in
of-
terms of the
in
appeal.
in terms of the
fans.
show, in terms of the show, having an attractive looking car is the important thing. Even though Force India, well done for this award, but we'll go back to McLaren at the start of the year when everyone was expecting, because it's going to be with Honda, they're going to do the red and white Marlboro livery, and it's all going to have Senna's name on the blah
we did have
blah
that
blah.
ghastly one for the first 4 races.
And then what
though.
they did was reveal a livery that looked awfully like the one that they used just before they ditched the Vodafone sponsorship, and everyone's like, "What? Vodafone's not your sponsor anymore. This is absolutely bullshit."
You're going to give us the proper livery now.
And then Ron Dennis said something like, all the aesthetics of the chassis and all the shareholders and everyone agree that the livery will indeed be altered at the Spanish of the Grand Prix, which is the 5th round of the 2015 FIA Formula One World Championship, and we'll change the chrome indeed to a more graphite sort of color, refined with twinkles of glitter. And before I get too
You get
carried
the
away,
picture
let's-
anyway. Let's move on. Let's move on here. We've got more important things to discuss on the Star Wars front.
Oh,
But before
come
we get
on, baby,
there,
calm down.
Lifetime Achievement
Is it time
Award.
to get Nige back? Is it time to get Nige back?
Oh, fine, you get me back in my gravel voice. So, Lifetime Achievement Award. We've got to look at this now, I think. Only if you pay me double butty time, 2 portions
fed you
of
tart.
butty.
I fed you tacos.
Then we got Lotus at Endstone. Since returning to Lotus Monica, you could technically argue 2011, but it wasn't 2012 before they officially adopted that iconic moniker, and they really did have tied in with Kimi Raikkonen's return there from his tenure in the rally and the NASCAR trucks and the like, and they had an upsurge in form, but then Kimi left, James Allison left, and they
Right.
encountered all sorts of monetary issues, and it's hard to say really now that they're out of the sport again, because we've got Renault's reacquisition of that Endstone facility now.
Lifetime Achievement Award, I guess, goes to Lotus indeed at their time at Renault, and they were really a fan favourite team since coming 2012, having Kimi Raikkonen on board, the Iceman, the Cool Finn.
And their social media presence.
Social media
too.
presence as well, above any other team at the time as well. They were very prolific on Twitter, Facebook, even YouTube. Even, though Kimi doesn't seem like one of the people who likes the media very much, they really adopted his persona very well to use in a lot of their social media campaigns, and because of that, they became a very prolific team in that front, very popular. But also, they were in the title hunt for those 2 years, 2012 and 2013.
Well, 2012 was Abu Dhabi when Kimi won that first race since his return. He was pretty much well within reach of a title with 2 events remaining, and
Very much so. And
it was a great just having that alternative candidate to the main runners there, Fred and Vettel.
2013 as well, winning the first race of the season, Melbourne, and I will never forget that. That was one of the best. Like, I really, really loved that race. Kimi Raikkonen winning in Melbourne.
Who would have thought? I remember at the time I was there as well, and I thought Fred for all money had it, and then I didn't realise that Kimi could maintain those tyres. And when he came out in victory, that was a great memory.
But hey, Kimi succumbing to that back injury later on in the year, and also
tied in maybe with these monetary.
With the monetary not being paid by Lotus for that year. So it was a really acrimonious end, and as we saw at that end of that year, 2013, Eric Boullier as well left for McLaren. James Allison left for Ferrari.
I've got to mention a bit of a sour note too. This is the way that they drafted in Heikki Kovalainen instead of their experienced test driver. That just really was a bitter pill for a lot of their loyal fans to see. And Valsecki was quite acrimonious the way that he responded to that, and we've really seen the loss of him to the paddock as a result of that. Anyway, we're just seeing Shrek in the background here.
Big Bull.
Darren. Great value for money he is.
Anyway, back to the picture. It was a bit of a sad note, and a lot of people felt cheated as well for Valsecki himself, who we thought deserved to drive those final 2 races for Lotus. But anyway, past is past. Roman Grosjean is obviously leaving the team, who's been a mainstay at Endstone, but greater things lie ahead for the Endstone team, returning to the Renault moniker for next year, and we hope that things go all right for them. But anyway, while Baden is childishly trying to turn up the volume on the TV, but he's not going to figure it out because I've muted it elsewhere. We're going to move on to the next award, which is Race of the Year. Now we're getting to the end almost. These are the big awards now, and we've got 3 nominations, of course. The British Grand Prix, who could forget the madness of half being run in the rain, half being run in the dry being the start. The Williams guys having that ripper start ahead of the 2 Mercedes.
I just think the fact that Williams didn't even get one driver on the podium there
Was a bit
just
of a
automatically
thing, yeah.
discounts
But
it. from-
Lewis Hamilton was made to work for his money that day. British Grand Prix. Next nomination, Hungarian Grand Prix, and this is the one that we talked about earlier on as well. And Ferrari instead of Williams getting those ripper starts against Mercedes. Both McLarens ended up in the points. We had both Red Bulls on the podium, both Mercedes in hot water, and of course the United States Grand Prix. Who could forget that weekend? That was the deluge of Hurricane Patricia ripping through the South of America, not South America, but the South of the United States, and also the race, starting in the wet. We had both Red Bulls potentially in contention for the win. And, there you go. Fred picks a winner. He's picking his nose. Not Fred Alonso, Freddie Flintoff. Good old Andrew Flintoff. Oh, bloody hell. We're getting carried away here. Doesn't matter.
Nearly there.
United States Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton wrapped up his 3rd World Championship, but again, he was made to work for it. Nico Rosberg made that mistake, but it was truly an entertaining race, even though Hamilton ended up winning, but that's all right. But anyway, Baden, the winner goes to...
Oh, it's hard to go past Hungary. That really did have it all, that race. Just the emotional backdrop we had there with the passing of Jules Bianchi, it just added that aura of it, and so much action. We saw Daniel Ricciardo as well, such a dear friend of Jules there. He didn't leave anything on the racetrack, as it were, and no one could fault him for requiring that little pit stop there to change that wing. Everyone just seemed to be putting their best foot forward to get the job done in the honour of Jules' memory, and that's a race really in an otherwise lackluster season that will be remembered for a long time to come.
And also Ferrari taking the win, and Sebastian Vettel as well, dedicating that victory to Jules, who was in contention for perhaps becoming a Ferrari driver in maybe a year or two's time to replace Kimi Raikkonen. But great race. As I said, both McLarens in the points as well, both Red Bulls on the podium, both Mercedes hitting trouble. Lewis Hamilton on the first lap was in the gravel, blamed his teammate, the usual bitching and
Nico
moaning.
Nico hit me. Yeah. That's not cool, guys.
That's not cool, guys. I'm going to go off and make music now. Please, Mr. Kennedy. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Yeah, so race of the year, Hungary, hands down. And, again, even though we keep saying it was a fizzy year, but we have had races that show that Formula One can pull it off. They can have those races that are truly entertaining. We can have the high level of competition at the front as well. And next year, we hope that, in a few days' time, a few hours' time when it is next year, we're going to hope that, Ferrari and Mercedes can really battle it out the front. If Red Bull and their tag engine can
their tag engine, because it's been 30 years since we've seen tag power on the grid, even though it's 100% Renault Viry-Chatillon source power and the like.
The ICE is Renault, but the rest is going to be Mario Ilian design, the energy recovery systems and all that.
Ilmor. Get it in your head.
Ilmor.
Renault Ilmor instead of Mercedes Ilmor.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay.
But moving on.
Weber, you want?
Yes.
Naomi, get here.
So, Team of the Year.
Team of the Year award. And we've got a few nominations instead of the 3. The obvious first nomination being Mercedes-AMG, obviously with their many 1-2 finishes, many front row lockouts. I mean, there's no point in mentioning numbers. They just broke records this season.
Well, they had a new share of the most percentage of points over a season.
They broke records last year, but this season they've broken them even further. They finished 1-2 in the championship. They finished the Constructors' Championship as well. Lewis Hamilton was world champion. There's no more we can say about these guys. moving it on, Ferrari, who, after the disappointment of last year, they came back and really proved that they're up there again. They changed their management. They've got Sebastian Vettel on board who can really take them forward, and already being likened to the like of Michael Schumacher when he came to Ferrari in 1996 it was. So they'll be up there. Force India, okay, we discussed them before also, how they
In terms of, they pretty much had only 60% of a campaign when they really, that B-Spec car only came
since that
online from
B-Spec
Silverstone.
Yeah, since that B-Spec car came on board, they've been in the points pretty much every single race, and they finished 5th in the championship, which is a new record for them, considering they started the season battling with the likes of the McLaren Honda for not even points.
I remember that first race, yeah.
Perez
Force
versus
India and
Jens,
Button at
yeah,
Albert
Perez
Park.
versus Button, the old teammates. And also finally Toro Rosso, punching above their weight. Those two rookie drivers have proved their haters wrong, which is a good thing to see, because all the criticism that Verstappen got coming into this season, oh, he's too young, and the experts like, oh yeah, they'll never do well. I mean, we sit on our high horses, and we're the experts of Formula One. No one else can be experts in this country, and we look through our rose-tinted glasses and everything, blah blah blah. So it's good to see those guys come in and really prove them wrong, and so they're in contention, and the award, Baden, goes to
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a finger by the rope. Ferrari.
Ferrari,
coming from where they did. They came from the clouds. Mercedes.
started
Really,
from,
how could they get any much more superior than they did the year before? Force India in their own right, but for Ferrari, everyone was saying they'd be lucky just to be a contender in the top 5 this year, here and there, and instead they genuinely gave cause for concern to the Brackley camp. And who can even forget just that one weekend, that real oddity we had,
Singapore, where they were
an
just
outlier, where they were just miles ahead.
and Sebastian Vettel too. It almost felt like he was back at Red Bull,
just like
having
old
one of those
times.
dominant victories there. So so Ferrari, got a credit to, not to take anything away from Mercedes. Ferrari were just they impressed so many, and that's what it's about, But anyway, now we're down to the final award. We can't believe it. Baden's just going to get some more beverages. We're enjoying ourselves. It's only 3 hours and 10 minutes until the new year here in Australia. Driver of the year. Okay, Lewis Hamilton was our world champion for 2015. 3 world championships for him now. He's our first nomination. He's had a dominant season this year, and that's not to take anything away from. It's not to take anything away from Nico Rosberg. Although Rosberg was a bit underwhelming at the start of the year, he really came back towards the end of the season and fought hard. And really, next year we're expecting both guys to be fighting for the championship instead of just one of them. And even if the threat from Ferrari is genuine as well, we expect both Mercedes guys, to be in that title hunt. So we will see. Yeah, Nico Rosberg, also a nominee, finished 2nd in the championship. He had that run of 6 pole positions at the end of the season, and then 3 victories on the trot. He also notched up 3 consecutive victories at the Monaco Grand Prix. Only the 2nd driver or 3rd driver to do so. 3 victories at Monaco in a row.
Anything else?
No, is that true? Was it he the only one, or
what? Anything else?
I don't know. He and Graham Hill. Sorry, guys, we haven't written like 10 pages of notes for this. It's really, as I said, it's makeshift. But anyway, Nico Rosberg is a contender for Driver of the Year. End of story. And our final contender for Driver of the Year, Sebastian Vettel. 3 victories for him. God damn it.
And the winner is Sebastian Vettel. And that finger. He's back with a vengeance. Got to admit, even
now everyone's going to think we're Ferrari sympathizers.
Yes, of course. We're with the first order resistance. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it, sympathizing.
No, but really, Sebastian, last year he was out of it. We thought that he was finished. Daniel Ricciardo wiped the floor with him at Red Bull. But for him to switch teams, which everyone thought he would never do, And for him, as well as the Ferrari team, to make that comeback, for him to be up there from the first race, he was on the podium. And to be on the podium pretty much in every single race. Not all of the races, but pretty much every single race.
Who can just forget that genuine joy? Second race into his stint at Maranello, that breakthrough, he genuinely embraced that, just madness of Ferrari, that whole stigma of being part of a genuinely special organization. It wasn't just like, oh, it's another win. He was genuinely absorbed.
Wait a minute.
What was the voice
that what was the woo? Yes!
Something like that.
It was that. I've heard it so many times now. Sky Sports literally just milk everything in their coverage. So, yeah. I'm surprised they haven't made a
uncanny resemblance there.
Well, the yes part, don't have the same high-pitched voice like Sebastian does. So I'm sorry. I think I've lost some of my voice, Dad. It's going to make it difficult for the New Year's Eve karaoke coming up in a few hours.
Ooh, karaoke! I never knew about this.
I wasn't planning.
Karaoke with Chewie and Kylo, is it?
Uh-oh!
It's the Bowcast of ensemble.
Yeah.
And we'll get Poe Dameron involved.
I like this.
Well, then I think that's all I can really expend on this topic. Of course, as I mentioned earlier,
you can expend?
We have our Star Wars special to come.
Yeah,
we've
spare a thought.
About 2 hours overtime with the F1 review here.
2 hours? I don't think it's gone that long. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Just a few words now to cap off the year and, of course, the season as well.
2015, why have we got to leave it?
It's unbelievable, guys. It's been unbelievable. Yeah, thanks for joining us anyway this year. It's been our first year, and of course we've had our difficulties along the way to get this podcast up and running. We hope to be back in a more professional way in 2016, and we'll have try and exploit as many new avenues as we can to bring this podcast to you guys, get a bit of a more structure going as well, try and make it more regular. But, we
do hope to be back indeed sometime
for
around
pre-season testing, of course.
Probably following the first test, if not beforehand. If there's anything really striking to come out from this car launch, end of Jan, early February, you can expect, even if it's not with the amenities of a professional recording, in time for that first race, you can expect a greatly enhanced viewing experience and listening to that end.
Yeah.
So we're going to have
We're going to have a comprehensive coverage of pre-season testing and all the news, of course, as well. But yeah, thank you so much from me, Jawad. It's been a pleasure to have you guys, whoever you are, listening to us, and we hope to be back even better in 2016. Baden as well.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Just the humble ideas initially to really we've been colleagues going back probably 24 months, but we finally met in person, Australia in March, and come a long way since then. This genesis of a podcast, it was discussed for some time, took a few months to get off the ground, but it was with good reason that we didn't want to have a half-baked effort, and indeed, whilst in many respects, it hasn't been like with all the bells and whistles the way we've conducted proceedings. We've missed the odd session here or there, but the effort's never been lacking.
We were at Bathurst. We still managed to podcast from there, New South Wales as well for you guys, and it's been quite good. But anyway, we're going to cap it off. Nige, have you got final few words to say as well before we go? And we've got your buddy already, so just finish it off and we'll give you your food.
I'll only be back in 2016 if you promise me one full portion, buddy. None of this quarter portion nonsense or half portion.
Okay,
this is not enough.
This is on the record, Nige. We'll promise you the full portion, buddy. Okay? Deal.
Thank you. I stand corrected.
All right. Thanks, guys, and Happy New Year to you all.
Let's have a ciao.